You had the space. If you don't have neighbors close by, I'm going to say, it's okay. Brad Pitt, the A-list actor who's graced countless red carpets and starred in some of Hollywood's biggest films, is always in the spotlight. He's known for his smooth charm, his perfectly crafted persona, and his ability to handle every situation with calm and confidence. But what happens when the camera isn't supposed to be rolling? What happens when he's completely unaware that he's being filmed? In that moment of unguarded honesty, he did something that completely shattered the polished image the world has of him. It wasn't a calculated move, nor was it something he planned. It was a genuine raw moment that was caught on tape, and it left everyone who saw it stunned. What could possibly make Brad Pitt, the man who always seems in control, act in such an unexpected way? The answer is a shocking revelation that shows a side of him few have ever seen. Unscripted moments during interviews and press events. Ever wonder what happens when Hollywood's biggest star gets caught off guard? Brad Pitt has a knack for turning these unexpected moments into pure gold, and we've got some gems to share. Brad Pitt, the man who seems almost too cool for words, has had countless interviews, press events, and award show appearances over his illustrious career, yet it's in these unscripted moments where his charm, humor, and authenticity shine through the most. Brad Pitt is no stranger to interviews, but what makes him stand out is how he handles the unexpected with grace and humor. One iconic moment came during his appearance on the Ellen DeGeneres show while Brad was promoting a film. Ellen casually dropped the bombshell that she once dated one of his ex-girlfriends. The audience roared with laughter, and Brad, clearly caught off guard, leaned into the humor, quipping, "We can compare pair notes." Later, his delivery was so effortless that it turned an awkward situation into an unforgettable, hilarious exchange. Another great example of his wit was during a press junket for Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Reporters, as they often do, asked Brad and core Leonardo DiCaprio to spill juicy behind-the-scenes details about each other. While Leo tried to stay diplomatic, Brad leaned back in his chair, flashed that iconic grin, and joked, "Leo's trailer was bigger than mine, so we didn't talk much." The room burst into laughter. Moments like this show Brad's ability to inject humor into even the most mundane questions, even in interviews where the stakes are low. Brad has a way of making the moment memorable. During a promotional tour for Troy, when asked how he prepared for his shirtless fight scenes, Brad grinned and said, "I stopped eating pizza for 6 months. It was painful." His ability to laugh at himself and keep things light makes him a favorite among both fans and interviewers alike. Imagine being put on the spot in front of millions and still managing to make everyone laugh. Brad Pitt makes it look effortless, and that's just the beginning. Award show anecdotes. If interviews showcase Brad Pitt's humor, then award shows reveal his heartfelt yet often hilarious unscripted reactions. Let's talk about his big night at the 2020 Golden Globes. Brad won Best Supporting Actor for his role in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, and his acceptance speech was a perfect mix of gratitude and comedy while thanking his co-star Leonardo DiCaprio. Brad couldn't resist poking fun at the infamous ending of Titanic. "I would have shared the raft," he joked, referencing the long-debated scene where Leo's character Jack dies. The crowd erupted in laughter, and Leo's reaction, a big knowing grin, made the moment even better. Another unforgettable awards moment came during the 2020 Oscars. After winning the same category, Brad's speech took a political turn, but not without his trademark wit. He joked about only having 45 seconds to speak, adding, "which is 45 seconds more than the Senate gave John Bolton this week," referring to the impeachment trial happening at the time. The room was stunned and social media exploded. It was a rare mix of humor and sharp commentary that only Brad could deliver so seamlessly. But it's not just the speeches. Brad's off-the-cuff interactions during these ceremonies are just as entertaining. Take the SAG Awards. In the same year, backstage, Brad reunited with his ex-wife Jennifer Aniston, and cameras caught them sharing a candid, joyful moment. Though the encounter lasted mere seconds, it became one of the most talked about events of the evening. Brad's face lit up as he held her hand briefly. It was genuine, human, and utterly captivating. What makes Brad Pitt stand out isn't just the trophies he takes home, it's the moments in between, the ones you can't script. Keep watching, because there's more where that came from. Press junket gold. Press junkets are notorious for being tedious. Actors sit through hours of repetitive questions from journalists, yet Brad Pitt has a way of making every interaction feel fresh. One such moment came during a joint interview with Margot Robbie and Leonardo DiCaprio. When Margot mentioned her love for dipping French fries in a milkshake, Brad immediately feigned shock, clutching his chest as if he'd been personally attacked. That's offensive," he deadpanned, earning belly laughs from both Margot and the interviewer. Another instance from the same press tour was when a reporter asked Brad what advice he'd give to his younger self. Without missing a beat, he grinned and said, "Take more naps." It's the kind of answer that's both unexpected and totally relatable, showing that even Hollywood royalty has a laid-back human side. One of his most endearing traits during these events is his ability to connect with co-stars, whether he's teasing Leo about being the bigger star or pretending to pout when Margot gets more attention. Brad's sense of humor keeps the energy fun and light. You can tell his co-stars adore working with him, and those dynamics shine through in every interview. What makes Brad Pitt's unscripted moments so special is that they reveal the man behind the movie star. Hollywood can often feel overly polished with actors sticking to carefully crafted PR strategies, but Brad's candidness is refreshing. He's not afraid to laugh at himself, poke fun at his friends, or even take a risk with a joke. These moments also remind us that even the most famous people are at their core just people. Brad Pitt may be a global icon, but when he's cracking a joke about pizza or sharing a laugh with Jennifer Aniston, he feels like someone you could grab a beer with. From heartfelt speeches to laugh-out-loud jokes, Brad Pitt's unscripted moments prove why he's one of Hollywood's most beloved stars, and trust us, there are plenty more stories where these came from. In every interview, press event, and awards show, Brad Pitt brings something unique. It's not just about what he says, but how he says it, with authenticity, humor, and just the right amount of charm. That's the magic of Brad Pitt. No matter how many cameras are rolling, he's always himself, and isn't that what makes us love him even more? Humanizing the actor. Ever wondered what Brad Pitt is like when he thinks nobody's watching behind the scenes of one of his most intense movies? We caught a glimpse. Brad Pitt's role as Tyler Durden in Fight Club is legendary. His performance oozed charisma and grit, but what many people don't know is how he behaved between takes. Behind the intensity of the character, Brad Pitt was cracking jokes with the crew and helping to lighten the mood on set. Considering how dark and heavy the film's themes were, his ability to bring levity off camera was a gift for everyone involved. One famous anecdote involves Pitt and Edward Norton, his co-star, who were known for playing pranks on the crew. In one instance, Norton and Pitt rearranged director David Fincher's chair, making it collapse when he sat down. Of course, Fincher had the last laugh by making them redo scenes countless times that day. These unscripted moments didn't just make the crew laugh, they showcased Pitt's sense of humor and camaraderie, a side of him that fans rarely get to see. In another behind-the-scenes clip, Pitt was caught helping a crew member adjust lighting equipment, not because he was asked to, but because he genuinely wanted to help. That humility in such a high-stakes environment is rare and says a lot about the man behind the star. What happens when a Hollywood heartthrob steps out of his role as a Greek warrior and into the shoes of a regular guy? Turns out it's pure gold. In Troy, Brad Pitt played the formidable Achilles, a role that required not just peak physical fitness, but also intense dedication. You'd think someone so immersed in a demanding role would have little time for fun, but Brad proved otherwise. During filming, there were moments when Pitt would break into laughter mid-battle choreography, especially during practice runs. One viral clip shows him and Eric Bana, who played Hector, rehearsing their epic duel. After one particularly choreographed swing, Pitt tripped over his own feet, rolled on the ground, and immediately burst into laughter. Bana joined in, and the entire crew cracked up. Watching this, you can't help but see Brad as a regular guy who doesn't take himself too seriously, even while portraying one of the most famous warriors in history. Another touching moment occurred when Brad Pitt spent time talking to extras, many of whom were locals from Malta and Mexico, where the movie was filmed. While other actors might retreat to their trailers, Pitt mingled with the crowd, even signing autographs and joking around with the extras. It was his way of staying grounded despite the grandeur of the production. Ocean's 11. Behind the glitz and glamour of a star-studded cast lies a bond you wouldn't believe unless you saw it for yourself. If there's one film that solidified Brad Pitt's reputation as one of Hollywood's most charming leading men, it's Ocean's 11. The movie itself is a masterclass in cool, but what really made it special was the dynamic between its cast. George Clooney, Matt Damon, and Brad Pitt shared a chemistry that extended far beyond the screen, and the cameras captured some of the best moments on set. Pitt and Clooney became the ultimate prank duo. Clooney, infamous for his pranks, once replaced Pitt's car with a much smaller one as a joke. Pitt retaliated by filling Clooney's trailer with chickens. These antics weren't part of the script, but they became legendary tales that added to the film's charm. One of the most candid behind-the-scenes moments came during a scene break. A crew member captured Pitt teaching Matt Damon how to juggle. The two of them spent nearly an hour tossing props back and forth, laughing like schoolboys. What makes this so endearing is that it wasn't staged. It was just Brad being himself, sharing a light-hearted moment with a friend. Even Julia Roberts once mentioned in an interview how Brad's warmth made the set feel like home. He'd always bring us coffee or snacks just to make sure everyone felt included, she said. Those little gestures speak volumes about his character. Camaraderie with co-stars? Think Hollywood stars are all business? Wait until you hear what happened when Pitt teamed up with his co-stars. Brad Pitt is known for his strong connections with co-stars, and nowhere is that more evident than in his friendships with George Clooney and Matt Damon. These bonds, built on mutual respect and shared humor, often stole the spotlight during filming. During Ocean's 13, Clooney joked in a behind-the-scenes interview that working with Brad was like having a brother who's cooler than you. Pitt, not missing a beat, responded, "Yeah, but I'm also the one who will eat all your food." This playful banter made its way into countless interviews and videos, giving fans a peek into their friendship. Another famous moment happened while filming Burn After Reading. Pitt's goofy portrayal of Chad Feldheimer was already a hit, but his real-life silliness with co-stars like John Malkovich and Frances McDormand was just as memorable. In one behind-the-scenes clip, Pitt spontaneously broke into a dance routine between takes, leaving everyone, including the director, in stitches. At the end of the day, it's not just about the roles he plays, it's about the man behind the camera. These behind-the-scenes stories don't just make us laugh, they make Brad Pitt feel real. They show that beneath the fame, the awards, and the larger-than-life persona, he's a person who values kindness, humor, and connection. Whether he's helping a crew member, pranking a co-star, or sharing a laugh with extras, Pitt's unscripted moments remind us why we love him, not just as an actor, but as a human being. Public appearances and candid moments. Imagine being Brad Pitt, one of the most recognized faces on the planet, and still finding time to genuinely care about people's struggles. That's the side of Brad that not many see but should. One of Brad Pitt's most impactful contributions came after Hurricane Katrina devastated New Orleans in 2005. The images of the destruction were heart-wrenching, but Brad didn't just watch the news like the rest of us, he got involved. In 2007, he launched the Make It Right Foundation, a non-profit organization focused on building sustainable, affordable housing for families who had lost everything. His vision wasn't just about homes, it was about creating hope. Now here's the part that truly stands out. When cameras followed Brad to New Orleans, they didn't catch a celebrity trying to look good for the press. They captured something far more powerful, a man. Walking hand in hand with residents, listening to their stories, and often disappearing into construction sites wearing a hard hat. These weren't staged photo ops. They were raw, real, and deeply human moments. One unforgettable instance. Cameras once caught Brad chatting casually with construction workers as they built houses together. His jeans were dusty, his hands were dirty, and he looked just like any other volunteer. A resident later shared how Brad had stayed long after the cameras left, asking questions about what more he could do. This wasn't Brad Pitt the Hollywood star, this was Brad Pitt the humanitarian. And let's not forget his humility when interacting with fans in the area. Many residents approached him for autographs or photos during his visits. Did he shy away or try to avoid the spotlight? Not at all. He smiled, took time for selfies, and often cracked a joke or two, making everyone around him feel at ease. Rehook, it's rare to see someone as famous as Brad Pitt willing to get his hands dirty, literally, for a cause. But he's not your average celebrity. Beyond New Orleans, Brad has used his platform to support various causes, from fighting for environmental sustainability to advocating for housing rights. These efforts aren't just about donating money or appearing at glamorous charity events, they're about being present, listening, and making a real difference. You'd think after decades in the spotlight, Brad Pitt might have grown tired of the endless fan encounters. But what if I told you he's one of the most gracious stars when it comes to meeting his admirers? At film premieres, Brad is screaming fans hoping for a glimpse of him. Most stars wave, sign a few autographs, and quickly retreat to the safety of the red carpet. Not Brad. He's known for taking his time with fans, walking along the barricades, chatting, and ensuring that as many people as possible leave with a memorable encounter. One particularly touching moment occurred at the London premiere of Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. A fan who had traveled hours to see Brad was holding up a sign that read, "You're my hero." Brad noticed it, walked straight over, and spent several minutes talking to her. Cameras captured the interaction, and you could see the tears of joy in her eyes. She later described how Brad made her feel like the only person in the crowd despite the chaos around them. It's these little things that make Brad so beloved. Whether it's signing posters, posing for selfies, or simply making eye contact and saying thank you, he never appears rushed or uninterested. He treats each fan as if they matter, which in his eyes, they clearly do. Rehook, imagine meeting your favorite celebrity and discovering they're even kinder in real life. That's Brad Pitt for you. Another fan recalled a moment during the Cannes Film Festival where Brad stepped off the red carpet to greet a young boy in a wheelchair. The cameras followed as he knelt down, shook the boy's hand, and spent a few minutes chatting with him. It was a simple act, but one that left an indelible impression on everyone watching. And here's where it gets even more heartwarming. Those unexpected moments when Brad Pitt is caught completely off guard by fans and still manages to melt hearts. In 2019, a video went viral of Brad walking through an airport when a fan nervously approached him for a selfie. Brad didn't have his entourage or a red carpet to shield him. It was just him, a fan, and a very awkward moment. But instead of brushing her off, he laughed, posed for the picture, and even asked, "Did it turn out okay?" It was such a genuine moment that the fan later posted it online with the caption, "Brad Pitt is the sweetest person ever." Another spontaneous encounter took place during a coffee run in Los Angeles. A young couple spotted him waiting in line at a cafe and worked up the courage to say hello. According to their account, Brad not only greeted them warmly but also joked about how he could use more coffee to keep up with the day. The interaction lasted less than a minute, but the couple described it as the highlight of our lives. And then there was the time a fan accidentally bumped into Brad at an art gallery. She was so flustered that she immediately started apologizing, only for Brad to laugh it off and say, "No worries, I've been bumped into by worse." The two shared a laugh, and before she knew it, Brad had agreed to take a photo with her. It's moments like these, when the cameras aren't rolling and the stakes are non-existent, that show who someone truly is. And Brad Pitt's true self? Pretty incredible. Brad Pitt's candid moments, whether in the spotlight or completely unexpected, reveal a man who hasn't let fame take away his humanity. He's the kind of person who listens when people talk, shows up when it matters, and never forgets the fans who helped him reach the top. Viral moments on social media. In today's world, even the most famous celebrities can become stars for something unexpected, thanks to the power of social media. And Brad Pitt is no exception. Over the years, countless viral clips and memes have captured Brad at his most candid, amusing, and even unexpectedly relatable. One moment that certainly caught the internet's attention was his appearance at the 2020 Golden Globes, when Brad was caught on camera laughing at a joke made by Leonardo DiCaprio. The internet went wild. It wasn't just his laugh, it was the look on his face, that mix of disbelief and genuine amusement that made it so relatable. You couldn't help but feel like you were in on the joke, as if Brad was one of us, just laughing at the absurdity of the moment. This reaction quickly turned into a meme, sparking millions of shares across platforms like Twitter and Instagram. The best part? It wasn't scripted or planned, just pure, unfiltered Brad being himself. Then there's the Brad Pitt and his phone meme that had the internet in stitches. If you've ever seen him try to take a selfie or interact with a smartphone in any public setting, you'd know it's pure comedy. Whether it's Brad in a chaotic moment trying to figure out the camera or looking completely lost in the world of social media, these clips highlight his charming, almost lost moments that make him seem far less like a Hollywood star and much more like a regular guy. It's these spontaneous, unpolished moments that the internet absolutely adores. Then there are those times when Brad takes part in lighthearted content without realizing that it's about to explode across the internet. One of those times was his participation in the FaceApp challenge. Yes, even Brad Pitt wasn't immune to jumping on the viral trend. The photo of him with a more aged version of himself was shared everywhere, with people marveling at how effortlessly cool he looked, even as an old man. What makes this so charming is that Brad had no idea this photo would take off the way it did. He wasn't trying to be a part of a meme, he just genuinely participated in the challenge, and the internet did the rest. And let's not forget the hilarious 2019 commercial for Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, where Brad Pitt's character Cliff Booth is shown in the most unexpected situations. One clip in particular, where Brad is trying to fix a car and ends up looking effortlessly cool despite the chaos around him, was shared on social media like wildfire. The internet just couldn't get enough of it. It wasn't intentional, but Brad's easygoing nature and dry humor turned it into a viral moment that had everyone talking.